We're going to talk about navigating a worksheet. Excel provides several ways to navigate a worksheet. You can use your mouse to click a cell to make it the active cell. You can use the keyboard to move from one cell to another. And there's some quick shortcuts we should know. First of all, if our cursor is in a location, let's say we're in C18, and we'd like to go to the top, we know we press the Control and the Home key, and that brings us to the top. If we press Control End, it does not bring us to the bottom of the spreadsheet, but it'll bring us to the last cell in the worksheet that contains data. Pressing the Tab key moves it over one to the right. Pressing the Shift Tab key one to the left. Pressing the Page Down key brings us down one sheet, and Page Up will bring us up one sheet. Those are some of the key moves. Now, we have others that will become very useful to us, and to introduce that, I will go into another spreadsheet. Here we have a bunch of names, and it's a pretty long spreadsheet. If I press the Control N key, you'll see it goes down to row 416. Let's go to the beginning of it. And one of the problems we see here is if I move my cursor over to the right, I will lose track of what names appear in column A. Also, if I move down, I'll lose track of what appears on the very top. So I have to have a way, I need to have a way to freeze certain sections. If I take my cursor and I move it to column B, and I click on View, and I click on Freeze Panes, I have a choice of freezing the first column. And if I click on that, you'll see a line forms, a vertical line. If I go to the right now, the first column is frozen as I scroll over. I can do the same thing with the rows, and I can freeze them as well by going to View and going to Freeze Panes, and now it says Freeze Top Row. I can do that, and if I go down, I will now see that the top row is frozen. What happens if I want to freeze both the top and the bottom? Well, to do that, let me first unfreeze the individual panes, and now let's repeat the process by going to View, go to Freeze, and now we have a choice which says Freeze Panes. And if I click on that, I will now see that if I scroll down, the top row stays, and if I go to the right, the first column stays as well. So that is a useful technique to move around and to see the data on the spreadsheet. We may have a situation where we'd like to see two different parts of our spreadsheet. So for example, if I go down, you'll notice everything seems the same basically, but on the bottom I then have, as I continue going down, I have some sort of summary of information. Now if I would like to see that summary of information, but on the other hand I'd like to see the top as well, what I can do is go to View, and I will go now to, instead of Freeze Panes, I'll go to Split. And what this does, well, it does two things really. If I go further down, I will see that I have the top of the screen not moving, but the bottom does move. If I go to the top now, I'll see the top moves, but the bottom does not move. And I can go to the left, and I can do exactly the same thing, or I can go to the bottom and do exactly the same thing. So you have many different possibilities. If this is confusing, I can move my vertical line over, and I can still maintain the split, and this way I can just look at the top or the bottom and not worry about the four-way split which I had earlier. We have a fun approach to find updated information. For example, when cells are not visible on a worksheet, you can watch those cells and their formulas in the watch window toolbar. And the watch window makes it convenient to inspect or audit or confirm a formula with calculations, and results can be verified that it is really correct. By using this watch window, you don't need to consistently scroll or go to different parts of the spreadsheet. Let's illustrate how this would work. As we saw on the bottom of our spreadsheet, we have a value here which is grand total, and this grand total will change if I change one of the numbers. So for example, let's go to here where the number is 4. If I put in a 7, it will change to a 20. Now let's assume we are in a different on top of the spreadsheet and we can't see what's going on in the bottom, and I'm going to change one of the numbers. Now keep in mind the number right now is 817. If I go to the top or someplace else where I cannot see it, I will make use of the add watch. How do I do that? Well, we're going to do the following. We're going to click on where it says formulas, and we have what's called a watch window. And it's asking us which cell do you want to watch. So I put in over here, it's a matter of clicking on the cell that you wish to watch. In this case, the cell was here at 253, J253. And it indicates to me what that cell is all about. And if I do change a number, let's change a number way up here, where we have the number 4, and let's make that 9. And if I watch my window, when I press enter, I hopefully will see the number change, and there it is. It does change. So I do not have to be by that cell in J253 to see it, but I can see everything change over here just by keeping the watch window active. If I don't want to see it anymore, I would just close it out, and that's all there is to it. I don't know if you noticed, but we have on top of the screen columns A, B, and then D. C is missing, and the reason for that is because I hid it. And I did not delete it, I just hid it. Sometimes you don't want to show all information to everybody, and I can do that very easily by taking the cursor, put it on the column or columns I want to hide. Let's say we want to hide H and I, and I can very simply right click and go down to hide. And now if I print it out, for example, it would print out everything but those columns that I did hide. And to retrieve it, I would do exactly the same thing and just highlight columns and right click and click on unhide.